here we go again. Welcome back to Dimebag Darren World Headquarters here in the corner of my basement. Hope you guys are having a cool day. I tried to make this earlier and messed it up. One thing I don't want it to be is super long-winded, so I'm hoping to get to the business of showing you the Yamaha AG03 Mark II real quick like. And here it is in its glory. It comes in black or white, depending on which you like better. We'll take a look at the black one close up. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by zeroing in on the very top left where a microphone plugs in, and there's only room for one microphone on this one. A 48-volt phantom power so that you can power any microphones that need power, that being a condenser microphone. And a line-in button, so if you don't want to use a microphone, you want to plug in something else later, you've got options around that. You can make it into a line-in by pressing that button. Simple as that. We're going to quickly cover everything in the gray section. As you can see, it gets a little bit wider and starts off at the top with a 48-volt light to let you know if the 48-volt button is pushed, and the peak light. When you're using this, we should see the peak light every now and then. That's normal. Coming up next is the gain, and you'll never know the true setting for the gain when you're speaking into the mic. Only when you're really singing into it, you're going to find out. And if the red light starts to light a little too often, the peak light, you just turn it back a little bit. But you want to get to the peak. You just don't want to clip. That is not a clipping light. That is a peak light. So make sure that it does light up every now and then, all right? Of course, the big slider is controlling the overall microphone volume, and when you're using it, you're going to be at or near the more prominent line, the one near the top there. You don't have to be right on it. You can be over it. You can be under it, but you'll be somewhere near it if everything is set right. The last three buttons in the gray area turn on and off various functions of the software control of this mixing board. One turns on and off the compressor and EQ together. So on and off for both of those two functions together at the same time. Reverb on and off, of course. And I'll give it to the mute button. It is very handy and it is silent. So when you press in the mute button, there is no horrible sound that goes out, or also no sound when you release it. This is exactly what you want in a mute button. Some mute buttons make horrible clicking sounds, and you don't want. While we're there at the bottom, I'm going to point out the next two knobs to the right of the slider. One's got the shape of a guitar and a keyboard on it. The other, the shape of a computer, the shape of a phone, and the symbol for USB. So the first one with the guitar and the keyboard, that's your channel 2 volume, and we'll take a look at that at the top of the mixing board in a moment. And of course, the computer, any sound that it is making that you want to incorporate into your program, that volume with the computer, the phone, and the USB symbol is the one to be looking at that point. Back to the plugs at the top. While the microphone plug there also has a hole down the middle if you insert a 1/4-inch type plug, so it can take the two types. Here on channel number 2, we have 3 different plugins. Now, what are they for? Well, the one with the white background there with the shape of the guitar is saying that's where you would plug in a guitar if you were going to use it, and it says the button should be pushed in for guitar. Now, if you're going to use it as a line input, it shows the button is tall. That means it would be released, not pushed in. And that would be an appropriate input it shows for keyboards or any other line level thing you would want to plug in. Then you'll choose by your own ears between high and low gain, and you'll be using that volume knob down here on the bottom with the shape of the guitar and the keyboard on it. And that will determine which of the gain settings you want to use. It'll be pretty obvious. So we've covered the input section of this thing, channels 1, 2, and 3. 1 being the microphone, and 2 and 3 being the left and right channels of the stereo channel that we'll call 2 from now on. So you've got one mono channel and one stereo channel on this mixing board. Before we cover the part of this board I would call the outs, starting with monitor out at the top, we're going to look down right in the middle of the board where we've got a special little block there, a block right there marked headset. That is if you happen to have an old headset with a microphone and 2 plugs on the end. They're both 3.5. One of them is for the headphones part of your headset. The other one is for the microphone part of your headset. So you plug both of those plugs in there, and the microphone part comes up being controlled by channel 1. That's why it says 2 channel 1 right there on it. Right below that, AUX, aux, or auxiliary, is the auxiliary input for anything you want to stick in that hole that makes noise. 3.5 millimeter jack from a phone, a tablet, anything really that has output of sound that you would want to get into this thing, you could jack it in right there. That's where it would go. The next part is not only an important switch, but important information as well. Streaming out. You've got a 3-position switch here. 2 of those positions are pretty important for us streamers or those that want to perform, say play guitar and sing on their YouTube channel. But the other one, I guess they're all really important, truly. Let's cover them all. We're going to start, though, with loop back. That's at the bottom. Anytime your computer is playing any kind of sounds at all, if you want the people out there to hear it on your stream or that kind of thing, or in a Zoom meeting, in any kind of output, you've got to turn on the loop back. So when you turn on the loop back, that means any sound originating from your computer is also going to be played for the people who are out there listening. Now, that also means if suddenly somebody who is listening has the ability to speak, because you're in, say, a meeting or something like that, they'll speak. You'll hear them, but then your computer will play them back to themselves a moment later. They'll hear an echo. So when they complain of an echo, you've got to turn the loop back off. So if you're playing music and singing along and you want people to hear the music, you've got to do the loop back. If you're in a meeting and you won't want people to hear one another looped back, then you'll be using input mix. Input mix is kind of the alternative in general. But above that is dry channel 1 to G. And what that means is if you were connecting this to a recording software on your computer, a DAW, D-A-W, digital audio workstation, then you would want the simple captures of what came in on channel 1 and channel 2 to go into the DAW to be processed afterwards. So that is when you would use the position channel 1 dash number 2 G. And that's pretty much the only time. And that other information above, 24-bit, 192 kilohertz, is one of the options you can use for outputting to a DAW. So unless you're using a digital audio workstation on your computer and using this as part of it, that 24-bit 192 kilohertz part is not really that relevant to you. It's good. It's not going to help or hurt. But you'll be switching between loop back and input mix. When it's performance time, you'll be set to loop back, and you'll control the volume of the microphone with the slider and the volume of whatever else there is, like let's just say a karaoke track. That would be controlled by the second knob, the one with the computer and the phone symbol on it and the USB symbol. So you would balance the two for yourself right there. And while we're doing that balancing, let's look all the way to the right in that very special area with the white highlight called monitor. And monitor is the volume output of the whole system, either to your headphones. When you plug in your headphones, that will be its special and dedicated volume. And if and when you plug speakers into this, the top knob is exactly that, the dedicated speaker volume knob. Which brings us to one of the most interesting switches that are still left to talk about. Mix minus. What the hell is mix minus? Well, mix minus is the mix minus you. That is channel number 1, the microphone. What does that mean? Well, if you have your headphones on and you're listening and you want to hear yourself, then you must not have mix minus on. It has to be off. But if you don't want to hear yourself, like maybe you're in a Zoom meeting or some other reason, then you would click on mix minus and it brings you out of the mix. Now, only in your headphones. If you're talking in a meeting, they still hear you. So like a telephone used to work where you wouldn't hear yourself coming back through the telephone, that's what happens when you turn on the mix minus. But if you're singing, you want to hear yourself with the music, so you would not use the mix minus. But if you were playing out loud through speakers and had the microphone live, if you use the mix minus, you will greatly lessen the chance of any feedback because your voice isn't coming back through the speakers. Mix minus is pulling it out. So anytime you want to use loudspeakers out loud and have your microphone working, well, that's one way of doing it. Now, again, you can't use it for a PA system. You're not going to come through the speakers, but you will go out in the stream. So perfect for a Zoom meeting and that sort of thing. So above that, we've got two things. We've got green signal lights, and if you've got a nice healthy signal, you're definitely going to see those light. But you've also got red peak lights too. And I'll take a moment again to point out that peak and clip are not the same. Peak lights are okay to light. Clip lights should be avoided. So in this case, make sure that your output from all of this, that is, you've turned up the button that's brought back, say, your karaoke track from the computer, and you've slid up the microphone, you want to see those peak lights sparkle every now and then. Same way as you want to see the peak light from the channel 1 gain setting sparkle every now and then. Okay, above that is the power switch on and off. If you have problems with this, if it sounds weird to you, go ahead, turn it off, wait a second, turn it back on. Not going to hurt anything, and like anything else, clears up a pile of weird things that go on at times. So just remember, it's still a little computer in there. That's where it's getting its powerful DSP suite, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. But we are now at the very top of this physical part of this mixer, where you've got the monitor out choices. Very simple. Okay? To do what you're going to want to do, you're going to need a set of headphones. We're going to get to that in a moment, but the headphones have their own dedicated plug. You can see it right there in the monitor out section. Can't miss it. Then there are two plugs, both showing speakers. Now, if you've got the sort of speakers that have 1/4-inch jack plugs, then this right here is where they go. If you have a different set of lesser computer-type speakers, you may need to get an adapter to bring those 2 1/4-inch jacks down into a single jack that you could then use with maybe the speakers that you've got. And those red and white plugs, those are called RCA plugs. And they would actually allow you to take your old stereo system and plug it into there and run right out your stereo speakers from your old stereo system if that's what you wanted. Finally, you've got a plug for a foot switch. The foot switch can be assigned to do two different things. It can either turn on and off the reverb, or it can mute the board. It can turn on and off the mute function. So the same ones that are right here, the reverb and the mute, you would choose which one, and then every time you hit the pedal, either the reverb or the mute would switch for you. So that is what you would do with the foot switch if you wanted it. And this is the majority of connections to this device. And I say majority because there really is only one other connection. And we're going to just get an angle on it here. Oh, yes, we are. I guess I lied, two other connections. USB 2 right there is the connection to your computer, and it shows a computer or a phone, and this is a data connection. And that is enough. If you're connected to a computer, it will power the unit by that. But if you're connecting this to a phone and it's got limited battery, there's another place where you can jack in a battery to keep things out and running up, if you're out in the field. So that's no mystery there. It's extra power if you're using a phone, but you do not need to use the additional 5 volts DC if you are using a computer. Lots of power there. All right. I hope you're following along so far. This particular unit is one I choose because it's got a built-in DSP. DSP stands for Digital Signal Processor, and what it means is some really cool features you wouldn't get otherwise that I think are indispensable. I wouldn't have it on my list if it did not have these interesting features I think you'll find worthwhile. Next thing we are going to look at is the app that comes with this thing. And now this app is iOS or I don't believe it's available for Android, and that's the problem for the Android people, but it is available on Windows. But what shows up on Windows is this, what you're looking at right now, which very much looks like a phone app. So some basic settings here in what they call simple mode, where you would just choose whether you're a vocal range bass, tenor, or soprano, and is your microphone dynamic, condenser, or mine's a dynamic actually, and whether you're going to talk or sing. So let's just pretend I'm going to put my voice right in the middle because I can do kind of both, and we're going to put on sing, and we're going to leave the reverb. You can hear it. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Reverb is on. I guess if I do talk, does it turn it off? I'm trying to click on it, but I'm not trying to click on it. Hang on. Check 1 2. All right. So it's gonna sound check. Okay. By recording and playing back your voice. Okay. Next. Check 1 2 1 2 3. Little fader to positive with the bold line. Right around there. Check 1 2 1 2 3. I'm in the good zone. Next. 1 2 3. I'm in the next zone. Adjust the fader. I'm still good. I'm happy with that. Right there. Record my voice. Record my voice. I'm recording my voice. I like to record my voice, so I'm recording my voice. Okay. Record my voice. I'm recording my voice. I like to record my voice. Record my voice. I'm recording my voice. I like record my voice. See, now you don't hear that unless I turn that on loop back. This is a perfect situation where I've locally recorded my voice, but if it's on mixer, you don't hear it. Only I hear it. Like right now, I'm hearing it. But I'll switch it back to loop back, and then you'll hear it also, and it's very annoying. So we're going to stop that right there, and we're going to close that. Now, and we're going to get rid of the reverb. I just pressed the button on the actual physical unit, and that turned it off. I didn't click on it here. I could have done it right here and just clicked on reverb on and off. But if it's on or off, and I do it on the actual device, it changes right there. So there you go. Okay, so this is simple mode, but you can go to not simple mode. This is pretty cool, actually. So you have your 2 channels represented, 1 and 2, and then your reverb section, quite simple. Okay, so on channel 1, you have a compressor to play with, and I'm not going to get into this exact settings because there are presets for you to use. You just click on that, it brings up the series down here, and you can go through the different choices that are here, work with them to begin with, and then take it from there. Here, speech, sing. There, I'll set it to sing. So I've used the preset there. And we'll close that. And then I'm going to go to the EQ. Now, I've kind of dialed in this EQ a little bit. This will be for you to play with because you got to do it to your own ears and whatnot. And far be it for me to say my ears are any better than anybody else's. But you'll dial in either your own or you will use one of the settings that it came with, right? And it will change up that pattern a little bit depending on what you choose. I'll choose, voice high speech, voice high sing, voice high speech for a condenser mic, voice high sing for a condenser. By the way, this kind of capsule-shaped picture, that's supposed to be a condenser microphone, where these are dynamic microphones. So if your microphone needs power, then it's a condenser mic, and you should be choosing one of these. It's saying. And if it's not, if it's a dynamic, then one of these. But let me tell you, this is all BS. You choose the one that works the best for you. These are just EQ patterns and profiles. You can grab one of these little dots and drag it around to change all this. You do this to your own liking. But in the end, there are some presets for you to use. There's a few more if you scroll here. And it's this voice, middle, sing, and dynamic. Okay, so I'll just keep this one here. Voice, middle, sing for a dynamic microphone. So, fine. That'll be that. Now, there's that reverb switch again, and if I was to do it on the box, I can just switch it, and you see it move. I can do it with the mouse as well. And now we'll go down to channel number 2. It has presets and a compressor. It has an EQ, and it has an amplifier. What am I trying to say? It pretends it's an amplifier. So you can choose different settings for if you're using an electric guitar or an acoustic guitar. An amp simulator is what I wanted to say. Or you can make adjustments of your own. So this can be for like the amp simulator part, or it can also be for a regular input. And if you're using it for a regular input, those are your compressor and EQ and amp simulator for channel number 2. And then finally, your reverb, where there are a number of, just this number, 4, of reverbs that you can choose from. They, I wish they were more powerful. I really do. Let's see. Let's turn on the reverb. First, you got to turn on the send here. Okay, the level is all the way up, so it doesn't get any higher than that. And when it comes to the choices, that's the default right there. They got this one here. This is hall. This one, which is room. And this one, which is stage. So you got to try whichever ones you like. You know, it's again salt till you're happy. I would like to put out more reverb than this thing actually puts out. There are some sliders to, I suppose, try to turn it up. I don't mean I want it to be longer like this. I want it to be stronger, like as in this knob here needs to go further past the 0, you know what I mean? But that's how that is. I'll hit the reverb button now and get rid of it. But that is the way that this thing works software-wise. Once you've set this software, this can be on your iPhone or on your computer. You don't have to look at this thing really again anymore. So you can just put that away. I'll just close it up, and away it goes, and back to me. Hopefully you're following along and getting some enjoyment out of this so far. The truth is, if you want to have something right on your desktop and be able to use it, I'm very fond of this. I don't like it as much as my previous answer to this question, which is right there. the PreSonus Revelator, but that means mixing boards that are on screens. Well, if you have screens, fine. But if you don't have a bunch of screens, then what? Well, this is much better. It's very tactile. It's right there on the desk for you. I have the white version there, as you can plainly see. And I want to show you briefly. Got my microphone plugged in here. Now this is the wireless receiver for my guitar. So when I play guitar, it goes right in there with the wireless, and that saves me a lot of time and trouble. So we'll just put that right back in there like that. And here I've got my headphones and my 2 speakers that go out from there. You can see that as I speak, I'm lighting up the green light right now, but I'm not peeking out because I'm not singing. It's when I sing that I actually get those to light. And right now, this is not on loop back. And if I was to press, anytime I press that, once I press that, I'm gone, but it doesn't make a horrible clicking sound, right? No sound at all, and that's what we like. If I was wanting to hear the guitar or send it out on my stream, I would turn that up. And this is what I've got to turn up if I want to hear the computer, whatever's playing. Of course, my headphones, that's what I'm listening to now. And I'm not using any speakers. And the mix minus is not engaged because I want to hear myself. And that's exactly how, there I am right there. That is my Mevo camera. And my StreamYard's Ducky. And the big setup, and my speakers, and my microphone. And so that's the last thing you're going to need, right? You are going to need these basic last few things, and that is, firstly, sorry, just trying to grab that now. Wish that would just, there we go. Boom. Let me switch the aspect here. You're going to need a good set of headphones. Doesn't have to be this set, and you certainly don't have to spend this much money on them. But if you do, you'll be very happy with this set of headphones. They'll be like a lifetime purchase, likely. But any kind of headphone with a 1/4 inch jack, 1/4 inch, that's 6.35 millimeters, I believe, not 3.5. That's too small. So you'll need some kind of headphones. Doesn't have to be these. But these are awesome. There's no 2 ways about it. Okay? You're going to need a set of speakers, maybe. You're going to want to play things out loud. So I think a set of speakers really does come into play. But get a set of speakers that has a 1/4 inch jack on the back that you can use, like this type here from M Audio, $108 for the 2, and they would be fine to get you started. You can spend a lot more money, but you don't have to, so don't, okay? And then finally, you're going to need yourself a microphone. Now, by the by, all my prices are on the Canadian Amazon. So wherever you are in the States, probably all this stuff is cheaper. I know for a fact this particular mic comes in at about $37.99 in the States. And this is what you're listening to right now, the Fifine what is it, K669D? This is it. I'm on it right now. So, yeah. Don't spend a lot of money. You're going to get a lot of use out of this if this is the one you choose. I promise that it will do the job you want it to do, especially this job of streaming. And if you want to be a singer on a karaoke stream, or you want to plug in a guitar and play, or keyboards and play, this is something that can get that job done. And if in the end this is not quite enough, there is a Yamaha AG03 as well that has a few more inputs and has a little bit more flexibility. I wouldn't say these are the cleanest interfaces, but they're good. Yamaha doesn't make anything that's absolute garbage, so you're set pretty much no matter what you get from Yamaha, you'll be fine. And hopefully this information will help you be fine picking out the best interface for your karaoke, YouTube, streaming needs, that's up to snuff, has all the good stuff, and is modern and ready to go, because that's exactly what this is. You want one with the right amount of inputs and a DSP, and that's exactly what we've got. So once again, from Dimebag Darren World Headquarters here in the corner of my basement, I hope it works out well for you. We'll catch you on the next time around. Bye for now.